Hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. Hey everybody, I just caught a terrorist, said no TSA agent, ever, not even once.
It's your birthday, we gon' party like it's my birthday, sip a party like it's my birthday.
But as useless as they are, sometimes they actually find stuff. When they're not busy practicing their night moves, of course. And I gotta hand it to them, the NAA mini revolver isn't the easiest gun to find, but they found one packed in a man's carry-on at Reagan National in Arlington, Virginia. The man blamed his wife for packing his carry-on, but he admitted she didn't know he had the gun in the bag already. I'm really not sure how he thinks that makes it her fault, but okay. Folks, if you're flying with a gun, it belongs in your checked bag. The best way to avoid trouble at baggage check-in is to lock it in a case, unloaded, with the ammo in its original packaging. I use a cheap lockbox my wife found on clearance at Walmart. It offers practically no real security, but it's enough to satisfy the counter monkeys. The best way to clear the TSA pat-down quickly is to bite your lower lip and moan softly. It's just no fun for them if they think you're into it.
Would it help if you went back to thinking I'm your sister?
Now, while you try to scrub that image from your memory, take a moment to consider how it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors. So let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by Springfield Armory. Their new Echelon pistol has a modular fire control group and a nifty universal mounting solution which will accommodate virtually any micro red dot.
New for 2023 is the Springfield Echelon. The striker-fired polymer frame pistol features Springfield's new variable interface system for mounting multiple optic footprints and the serialized cog fire control for inserting into multiple frames. Find out more at springfield-armory.com.
And by Vault Pro, proudly manufacturing the finest American-made safes, vault doors, safe rooms, and storm shelters. When you buy from Vault Pro, your safety, security, and privacy is their only priority. Vault Pro has never and will never release your information to another party. Click the Vault Pro link in the doobly. From the very beginning, all attempts to disarm the people have always been classist. They have always been an attempt to protect the elites from the rest of us. In the US, those attempts have often been explicitly racist. From the Dred Scott decision to the Sullivan Act to the Mulford Act to the countless Jim Crow laws allowing discretionary permitting, practically every gun control law ever written in the US was aimed explicitly at disarming minorities. And while modern suburban wino mommies would never admit it openly, their support for gun control is largely due to their fear of minorities. But even if these laws weren't intended to harm minorities, in practice, they continue to have a devastating impact on black men in particular. Twitter user Avsterbone analyzed hours of court video from Detroit and found that 99% of the people who were charged with carrying a concealed weapon alone and no other criminal charges were black men. It's important to note, these aren't dudes who were out criming and also got caught with a gun. These are men who committed no real crimes at all and were arrested solely for the offense of carrying without the consent of the Crown. One of the men thought he was carrying openly because he was using a pocket holster and the grip of the pistol was visible. In many other states, that would be considered open carry, and if it were open carry, it would be legal in Michigan. Another man was charged because he had an expired carry permit. None of these folks will be eligible for pretrial diversion either, because the Wayne County prosecutor will make a deal with thieves, burglars, people who resisted arrest, but carrying without the consent of the Crown is specifically listed as ineligible for pretrial diversion. Of course, in modern America, control freaks tend to be more classist than overtly racist, but the theme remains the same. Gun control is designed to oppress the most vulnerable people. Take, for example, Gavin Newsom's smorgasbord of garbage gun laws.
Melon rinds and bits of hot dogs, cookie crumbs and rotten cotton candy.
Which includes an 11% tax on guns and ammo and sets up arbitrary and subjective criteria to get a carry permit. It's clear Newsom absolutely hates poor people. You see, his wealthy buddies are entirely unaffected by laws like this. The elites can hire private security forces and pay for the exemptions. Even the middle classes are mostly just inconvenienced by gun laws. Now, while I do believe all gun laws are an infringement, if you live in a nice neighborhood, you're less likely to need a gun in the first place, and you can afford to jump through all the BS hoops to get a permit. And even a 10-round Mini 14 like you can have in California is a pretty decent home defense weapon. But if you're poor, the time and expense of getting a permit is a significant barrier to entry, and your busted down hoopty is more likely to get pulled over. Gun control isn't about guns, it's about control. It's about keeping the lower classes in their place. And no matter where you are on the political compass, if you have an American bone in your body, you ought to find that absolutely abhorrent. You should also be disgusted by the idea that a peaceable person should be prohibited from defending themselves. But if control freaks in Georgia get their way, they will impose a duty to retreat. Georgia has long enjoyed a stand your ground law, which simply means that if you're minding your business in a place you're legally allowed to be, you can defend yourself if you are attacked. This new duty to retreat means you would have to prove that you were unable to run away if you defended yourself. Now, don't get it twisted. Leaving the area is often a much better choice. It means you don't risk hitting an innocent person with one of your rounds. It means you don't get schwacked by another armed citizen. It means you stay out of court. It means the cops don't take your gun. So if you are attacked and running away is an option, I'd recommend you do that. But even if you're in good physical condition and capable of outrunning them, turning your back on your assailant can be very dangerous. Moreover, a legal duty to retreat shifts the burden of proof from the state to the accused, which is also fundamentally un-American and unconstitutional. House Bill 842 doesn't really have a great chance of passing the same legislative body which recently passed permitless carry in Georgia, but if you'd like to help stop it, you can call 404-656-5020 and tell them it is wrong to expect a 90-year-old grandmother to outrun a 20-year-old tweaker. And now, for your moment of Zen. Hey friend, do you like pews and other pew-related things? Do you want to help us keep delivering you pure, uncut American pew-paganda at the low price of free fitty? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.